Last time on Rebel Unicorn Crafts, we tested the mirroriest mirror paint to see if it worked as a traditional art supply, but one question remained. Can you fluid paint with it? Now, technically, the website clearly states that this is a solvent and is not an acrylic paint, so it probably is not made to work with acrylic paint, but I'm up for a challenge. So tag along as I try this. Quick safety disclaimer, this stuff has some pretty toxic fumes, so open a window, make sure you're in a ventilated space, turn on an air purifier, maybe even wear a respirator. This stuff is pricey. It comes in at $40 for this little bottle, so I wanted to do a very small fluid painting because I wasn't sure if this was going to work, and I didn't want to waste a bunch of it. Now, there are probably better ways to treat this, so if you know better ways, go ahead and do that, but I wanted to see if you could do it just as a normal fluid painting, so I'm going to just mix it with my regular acrylic paints and treat it as a paint layer itself. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time going over this paint in general. If you want to see my other video on the mirror paint, you can go ahead and refer to that, where there are a ton of other reviews on this mirroriest mirror paint by Culture Hustle. This video is just showing whether or not you can use it in regular fluid painting. So here is the paint, and then I'm going to be using Anita's, and I'm going to be using a really simple palette. I just thought it would be cool to have the silver, white, and a super dark blue, so I'll mix those colors up now. I only thinned with water because I wasn't sure how this was going to work with acrylic paint anyways, and I didn't want to waste any medium. Then, since I'm taking all the other safety precautions, I should also throw on a pair of some latex gloves to protect my skin, because it does say to not put this on your body. So, gloving up now. Let's clarify, I'm not necessarily saying, can you make a good fluid painting with this? So, I am going to keep this at the basics. I just want to find out whether or not these two paints are going to dry together and whether or not you'll get some of the same effects. So we're just going to do a very simple layered dirty cup pour, and we're just going to layer in the light or the dark blue, the white, and this silver paint. In my other review of this, I did mention this, and it was very apparent here. When you do pour this out, it tends to drip down the side of the bottle, and that's really frustrating because it's expensive and plus you don't want to get paint everywhere. But I just did a few little drips in on a few layers to see if once I actually dump this over, what would happen. So I will finish that up now. You can see in there that it is floating differently towards the top. So it's got a much more liquid and a lighter density than the other paint. So I am curious to find out what will happen there. Then it's time to do just a normal dirty cup flip on this teeny tiny canvas and hope that it works. Okay, so initially it is just silver. Is there any way we're going to be able to see any of the other colors in the actual cup? We did see that it all floated to the top, so I don't know how many layers this is actually in or if it just floated to the very top. So I'm going to move this around a bunch to try to expose some of those other layers of paint and colors just to see whether or not. Now, it does look really cool, and on camera, it's hard to describe what this mirroriest mirror paint actually looks like, and you can kind of see because it just disappears into light because it is so shiny. Now, it didn't quite mix with some of the other colors. It both mixed with them and made a sheen over them and left the other layers exposed. So it kind of worked, and it kind of does look super cool. But the real test is going to be, are these going to dry together? Is it going to flake away? Is it going to eat away at the other paint? So let's look at this the next day. When you're just painting with this, it does dry pretty quickly, but their website mentions that you should wait 24 hours after painting it on for it to be fully set, so I did that. And here is the painting the next day. And It did kind of work. Now, there is a sheen over the other colors, so it kind of dilutes it and makes it a more subtle effect, but it did all dry together, and doing a little scraping, nothing is coming off. It is shiny, very, very shiny. Now, is it a mirror? No, but I was also working on a very textured canvas, so that might be taking some of the mirror effect, but some of the areas where it's thicker, it has a little bit more of that effect, but this is definitely the silveriest paint that I have ever used in a fluid painting. So, final verdict, does it work for fluid painting? Yes? And I say it that way because, sure, this is a little fluid painting and it's nice and dry, and I can put this up somewhere and look at it, and it's pretty, but it's expensive. Whew. I probably put $5 worth of paint on this teeny tiny little canvas, and I don't know if that's the best use for this paint. Also, you have to take so many precautions because of the toxic smelling fumes that I don't know if this would be worth it to add in this way. And it does make the other effects of fluid painting very subtle because it does put a sheen coat over that. So, oh, I don't know. Yes, again. Anyways, if anybody else has tried this, let me know in the comments below and let me know what you think about it. Was this a success or was it a failure? Does it work or not? Help me make a more solid final verdict. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see other things that I do, subscribe to my channel and check out the other videos on fluid painting, watercolor, art supply testing, and some other helpful art tips. If you'd like to see what else I'm up to, you can follow me on Instagram, either at Rebel Unicorn Crafts or at Lacey Walker Art. I hope that you have a magically creative day.